She's back, all right.
By 1998, having already conquered the rest of the world, the Backstreet Boys were taking America by storm, reaching fever pitch and phenomenon status practically overnight. But the exhilaration of sudden success soon gave way to profound sadness when one of the band members was shocked by life-threatening news. Brian Luttrell's life began just up the road from his cousin Kevin in Lexington, Kentucky, where he was an active kid who loved sports, especially basketball. As a child, however, Brian was diagnosed with having both a murmur and a hole in his heart. Around the same time, a simple knee scrape led to a potentially fatal staph infection. The prognosis was so grim, the doctors told Brian's parents to start thinking about funeral arrangements. And yet the resilient 5-year-old miraculously survived. The congenital heart condition, though, would ultimately need repair. And at the age of 23, Brian Luttrell would have to undergo open heart surgery.
It was kind of disbelief because I felt so healthy going into the surgery. That was kind of the hardest thing to believe, was why I had to do this in order to live the rest of my life.
But on May 8, 1998, in Rochester, Minnesota, Brian was wheeled into an operating room.
I was supposed to be in surgery for 45 minutes, and I was under for 2.5 hours because they found another hole that nobody knew about.
Despite the complications, when we spoke to Brian 2 years ago, shortly after the surgery, he appeared to be on the mend and in high spirits, even willing to show us his scar. Today, however, Brian sheds new light on dark days, charging that after the surgery, having already persuaded him to postpone it not once but twice for business reasons, the group's former management team then pressured him back on the road before he was ready, physically or emotionally.
8 weeks to the day of my surgery, I was back up on stage in Charlotte, North Carolina. Was
oxygen tank standing by.
Yeah. I mean, for the first 2 weeks of the tour, I had, paramedics and people, just because I didn't know. I mean, I was in.
That'd be kind of scary.
It was very scary. It wasn't really my choice.
I was going to say, I mean, but it should have been, shouldn't it have?
It should have been nothing but my choice.
Throughout the ordeal, Brian, a devout Christian who one day wants to record gospel, says his faith in God never wavered. His faith in mankind, however, was shaken. Though the allegations are vehemently disputed, Brian now contends that the group's high-profile split with Louis Pearlman and Johnny and Donna Wright was at least in part due to the management team's alleged lack of compassion, placing a greater premium on the bottom line than on Brian's well-being.
The schedule was just laid out in front of us, and that's what got so frustrating, was because it was just chop, 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 had to be everywhere at a specific time, and nothing could stand in the way.
And if our management would have planned with us instead of planning by themselves, we wouldn't have been in this situation.
In the end, the Backstreet Boys walked away from that situation, bidding farewell to those who groomed them for fame, but who also, they say, betrayed their trust. The experience, both the surgery and the fallout, was a lesson learned, Brian hopes, not only for himself, but for his fans as well.
They realized a little bit through me, I think, of what hard work is. A lot of people think the entertainment business is such an enjoyable thing, and it's glamorous, and I mean, it has its perks, but there's real life behind all of it.